all the good things.
Okay, I'm gonna just double check. Okay, I think we're live. I'll just double check here. And there we are. Okay, there we are. Cool. Okay.
Sweet.
So hey guys, welcome back. Since my last video, I am now in Mexico. We have 4 Hexicans under one roof, and we're going to be putting out a lot of vlogs, adventures, a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. But while we're here, I want to start a live stream show, and my first guest is 𝙏𝙝𝙖𝙣𝙠𝙨.
Hey.
And we're going to talk about, she's a Canadian expat, similar to me, fleeing Canada for a better way of life. And we're going to have a quick chat about, I guess, the Canadian climate. Perhaps other Canadians can relate to it. And I guess talk about our outlook on what's going on in the world. And then I'll talk to her about, I guess, HEX.
Yeah, because I want to learn about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm really interested.
Great. Awesome. We got our first Modern Simplicity. Thank you for joining. Awesome. Yeah, guys, excuse the production. This is my first time ever live streaming. Hopefully the microphones work well. We have wireless microphones, and I have like a wide angle webcam. So sure, turn out pretty good.
I think we're good.
So 𝙏𝙝𝙖𝙣𝙠𝙨, explain to us a little bit about yourself and where you're coming from.
Okay, so I'm from Vancouver, East Vancouver specifically. I grew up in an area called Commercial Drive, Little Italy.
Okay.
Very multicultural place, so very artsy, funky, cool. And the last 10 years of my life I've spent as a designer and entrepreneur. I do graphic and interior design. And I also do brand strategy. So I've done a lot of stuff in sales and marketing, design and branding, event planning. And I've always just been really interested in technology and, you know, what's coming next in the future. I'm always kind of like looking for what's next. And yeah, I heard about crypto probably in like 2016, 17, but I didn't know anything about it, and nobody I knew anything about it. So I slowly started dabbling, and then I think it was December 30th, 2017, when I bought my first Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin on Quadriga.
Right. So let's talk about Quadriga. Did you lose any money on it?
Oh yeah, I lost it all.
You lost it. Oh, so you kept it on Quadriga.
Except for I was learning about like wallets and like how you can send yourself. So I had signed up for Coinbase. Yeah. And then I sent myself like one $250 deposit because it was only allowing me to buy like $250 a week. So I was like trying to like buy every week. I was like, oh my God, let me get more. Because I was convinced that this was going to be great. I had already seen how it had gone up a lot. And I was in Vegas at one point. I met this guy at the pool. He was like total stoner, like hippie dude. And he's like, yeah, I buy everything with Bitcoin. Like, and I was like, okay. So I actually met somebody who was using Bitcoin. Okay. And I guess he was like buying drugs off Silk Road and stuff. Right. So he was telling me, but he had made a whole bunch of money. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start getting myself some crypto. Unfortunately, I bought it on Quadriga. Okay. And as many people know, the guy who owned Quadriga was, I don't know what to call him.
A con artist? No, he is a con artist.
Yeah,
he had a history of doing like stealing people's money.
Okay, so I didn't know that, but his office was based on Commercial Drive, like 3 blocks from my house. Okay. So I was like, oh, it's local. Yeah. I could always just go there.
I know.
You know, I felt like a little bit of trust. And my roommate at the time, he was like, yeah, I'm using Quadriga. And it was the only way you could get like take your money out in Canada at the time that I had heard of, right? So I put my money there. But luckily I sent myself $250 deposit to Coinbase. Yeah. And then, I was telling all my girlfriends, like, buy crypto, buy crypto, buy crypto. And they were like, Penelope, we don't know. This is like so sketchy. Yeah. They're definitely not as adventurous as me. They didn't like have money to play with. So they're like, we'll just see what happens with your money. And then I lost it all. And that didn't go over very well. So
you believed in Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You had have you heard about it through YouTube or through word of mouth?
Honestly, I don't even know. I don't remember. Okay. I think I had heard about it like, on the internet or something. And then I met that guy when I was in Vegas at the pool. And I was like, okay, so there's actually a person that I've met that has bought Bitcoin, made money, and he's buying stuff on the internet with it.
Yeah.
And I'm just always interested in like different technology and business. So I'm always like, oh, let me just check this out. I joined a couple like crypto groups online. So I was watching what they were talking about. I was slowly trying to learn myself. And then actually one of my friend's mom, she had gotten into it. So she had put me onto Coinbase.
Right.
And like a website where I could track like how much it was going up or down. But like I was like financial stuff was never my forte. I was always like, I like doing art and creative stuff. And you know,
I've noticed that with women in general.
Oh yeah, we don't get taught.
They're a little bit financially like illiterate.
We are. I read a stat actually that by the time a guy is like 11, he knows about stocks, investing, interest.
Maybe nowadays with Robinhood.
Right? And a girl doesn't actually get taught about those things or start to take interest until she's like 22.
Right.
And I think it's because like when you're a little girl, you do get like taught like, okay, like be pretty, like, you know, this is like girl stuff and this is man stuff. And your dad usually is just treating you like a princess and taking care of you while he's teaching your brother, okay, you're going to have to make money. You're going to have to manage this. You have to understand how to like fix things. And so I think there is like, the social economic construct of like gender kind of divides us.
And plus like the state, they make it complicated. They choose to avoid teaching it in schools. They teach they prefer you to be like ignorant and just, you know, take the bank, you know, at their word and just pick up all those products and take on debt, right?
Totally.
That's like a terrible, in Canada especially, right?
I think we have like $1.30 for every dollar we make on average.
Right. And especially like student debt. Like I was going to more so talk about student debt and how like kids are just like, you know, they're pushed into universities where they take on a bunch of debt and that just snowballs. They can't afford the interest. As soon as they get out of university,
it's a trap.
They can't pay it off.
Total trap.
It's pretty bad. So like for that reason, like financial literacy is very important. And it leads people to, you know, find the answers themselves on places like such as YouTube. And oftentimes when they like take the red pill of how corrupt the legacy finance system is, it gravitates them towards like alternative assets such as cryptocurrencies. Totally.
When I learned about like the Federal Reserve not being like it's a private company and how they basically just our nations just go into debt by going into business with them. And that just falls on us as the taxpayers. I was like, this system sucks. I want to get out. Like, I don't subscribe to that. You know, it's like we have no choice, but now we have a choice. So when I found out about crypto, I was like, oh, this is a whole new wave. And I want to ride this wave. And I'll probably lose some money along the way, but like I'll learn. I was prepared, you know?
That's great, right? A lot of people are looking at it as a get rich quick scheme.
No.
So if you're coming into this and you're thinking, you know, who knows what this will be? And it's like still in such early stages that there might be like hacks and losses and scams.
I fell back a bit after the 𝙒𝙖𝙖𝙘𝙘 thing, and I was like, okay, I need to be a little more careful. But then I also didn't feel bad because like some people lost like millions of dollars. I lost like $2,000 worth of my investment, which today would have been worth a lot more. But I was like, you know, it's not going to kill me. I'm still young. Now's the time to take risks. I've always been like major risk taker when it comes to business because I feel like I have to learn the hard way. Like people can tell me stuff and I'll be like, and then I'll just go and try it myself anyway.
Perfect. And you said you're from Vancouver.
I'm
from Toronto, so I'm on the other side. You know, now that we're in beautiful Mexico, tell us a little bit about what motivated you to, you know, quote unquote flee. I know everyone, not every, you know, everyone, you know, says they've, oh, I'm just checking out Mexico, or like, oh, I'm escaping Canada, or, you know, there's different terms, but like what was life, you know, in Canada for you? And what made you come out to Mexico?
Good question. So, when the lockdown first happened in Canada and Vancouver, where they like
ago, right?
Yeah, it was like almost 2 years ago. So I had opened a co-working space. I wanted to create like the Soho House of Vancouver, but like a little bit less upscale because my budget was not that crazy. And so I opened a co-working space. I was trying to build a community. And I just really wanted to have like a creative hub where I could work and grow my business and grow my team and also collaborate with other people. And unfortunately, COVID came and killed my business. So I had to close that. And then I was just working from home on my computer. And I was like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I'm looking, my condo faces downtown. So I can see like all of downtown. And I'm just like, I can't even go enjoy the city. And they even closed like the parks and the lakes. Like I drove to a lake one day because I was like, F it, I'm going to go. I need nature time. And they towed my car out of the parking lot. And I was like stranded in Squamish.
They towed your car?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They
That's
towed my
next
car.
Level.
Yeah. So that lake day cost me like $400, but I was like, whatever, it was worth it. I really needed to just be like out in nature. But I'm a logical person and I don't like being, I've been defrauded and taken for granted and, you know, just rolled on too many times in my life where now I'm like, I'm not allowing this for myself anymore. And
so you felt like the government was screwing you.
I felt like I was getting screwed. I was like, I had to close my business. You know, it's just like nothing makes sense. Nobody's dropping dead. It's like 1% death rate. And so I decided to go to Miami because there was rumors they were going to close the flights and everything. So I was like, no. I don't want to be stuck here for winter. So I just subleased my place. And I took off to Miami and I thought I was going to go to Barbados because they had a 1-year digital nomad visa. You could just show up and stay for a year because all their hotels were empty, right? And I had some friends down there from being there previously. So I went to Miami. I luckily got introduced, or I met a girl who introduced me to a crypto club. I was like looking on Meetup for crypto clubs specifically because I wanted to find like a community to infiltrate and make friends with. And I don't know. I felt like crypto, like I was watching it again and I was like, okay. And then I checked my Coinbase and I saw I had $1,000. My $250 went to $1,200 or something. So I was like, what? This is awesome. So I dumped a bunch of my savings into crypto and then I was like, I need to learn more and I need to like find clients and stuff. And this is a niche that I could tap into. And then I met Sabrina. She brought me to a crypto meetup. I met this guy.
This is in Miami.
This is Miami. Okay. Yeah. This is a long story, I guess. But anyway, so I went to Miami. I totally spent 6 months just like getting really involved in the crypto community there. I absolutely loved it. All the people were amazing. And I was like, cool, I finally found a niche like I feel like I fit into. I feel like we got a little bit
how did that happen?
blurred out. Maybe because of the curtain? Oh, there we go.
Bad.
Okay.
It's not, yeah.
And then I came back to Vancouver because I had some family stuff and legal stuff. And I had been in the States for 6 months already. Oh, we got whited out again. Let's close these. Does that make it better? Yeah.
Guys, leave a comment. We can see your comments and we'll pin the best comments.
There we go.
So, and then.
Yeah, so I came back to Vancouver and I was like, this place sucks. Like
compared to the States.
Compared to Miami,
to Florida,
Miami was so open. Everybody was networking. It was very inclusive, very inviting. And there was just such a strong, like everybody was fleeing places that were closed down to go to Miami because it was open.
Yeah, and just to paint the picture to folks who like aren't aware of what's going on in Canada, like governments are like shutting down businesses, like and oftentimes like
everybody's struggling. They're sad.
Yeah, like for a lot of families, like their small business is their livelihood.
Yeah.
And you have a government that's like forcibly shutting it down.
And it just didn't make sense. Like, why can't I go to Costco, Walmart, all these big box
But you can't
stores.
go to the bakery down the road.
Exactly, but the bakery is closed. So I just was like, this is really unfair. I started getting very involved and active in groups that were chatting about like, our human rights and the Constitution and why is it going like this? And then we started like following the money. And I was just like, I don't know. Canada, no. And then I was there and I actually was going to plan to stay in Canada until January because I had a business partner who came from UK and she was living with me, but then she decided to break up with her boyfriend and go back early. So I was like, well, I don't have a reason to stay here. And it seems like things are just getting worse here, where it's getting better everywhere else. It's getting still more restricted. They're introducing the vaccine passport. I don't believe in this vaccine personally. I don't think
Yep.
it's safe for me to take it or need it because I got COVID in
There you go.
Miami.
So you got
I'm
the
like, I have
antibodies.
natural immunity.
Yeah, you're like a young, healthy person. There's no need for you to take on that risk, the potential risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and if you compare it to like, you know, trading, or perhaps like some of us are familiar with in crypto,
Yeah,
there's always like in anything you do, there's like a risk to reward,
exactly.
right? And the risk to reward, just for me and you, just the risk outweighs the potential reward.
And I was very vocal from the beginning about COVID because I don't care, like, if you don't like me for speaking my mind, or I was getting a lot of like flack on Facebook for like questioning, and I was very neutral from the start. I was just asking questions. Does this make sense to you guys? What do you think? Like, should we be allowing this to happen? Should we be allowing the government to do this to us? And a lot of people then gravitated towards me because they felt the same. And so actually, like, I felt like I made more friends being outspoken and like found my tribe per se, right, in these groups and stuff.
Online, more so than
online.
in person.
Yeah,
I hear you. I can relate to that. Yeah.
Dude, I had no like social interactions in Vancouver because everybody was scared to hang out in real life.
I had the same thing. A lot of my friends, like especially like the ethnic minorities, like they're, you know, perhaps their parents or their like siblings are a little bit more aware to it, so they tell their like siblings and you know, kids to like avoid hanging out with their friends. So
yeah, that was a big thing. Like all my friends were like, well, my parents are old, or like I have a compromised,
like, now's not a good time,
immune system family member, so I just can't be around people. And I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing here? Like, it's so pointless. There's no real business going on. It's kind of slow moving money there.
Yeah, I hear you. So okay, so now we're fast forwarding to like about October of this year. And you went on Telegram. Right. I came across this group on Telegram, like Canadians fleeing to Mexico. I think from like a Facebook group.
Yeah, and a girl on Facebook added me.
And it was like exactly what I was. I'm like, this is so specific. Like, like this is for me. So I hop in there, and it's like about 500 members, all Canadians,
planning.
A lot of them concerned parents, you know,
mostly.
rightfully so. Exchanging notes, exchanging latest resources, articles, news, and collaborating on how they can make their escape. Because, you know, in Canada, a big like the current news cycle is all about, you know, injecting this experimental shot into children, like 5 to 11. And I think like a lot of people, that is a very touchy subject. Like, kids are our future. We should ensure like the maximum, like that they're healthy, and that they can like, that they're like, our generations will like live on. And
like none of them have been dying. And we've already been abusing them enough.
I know. Like, I know, with the mask. The mask thing is so hard. The
psychological abuse is crazy. And like, I have a few friends who have kids, and they're just like exempt from wearing the mask, but they're like the only ones. And so they're now feeling like weird about being the only ones. They're like, health issues that could come from that. So yeah, when I saw they were trying to do that to the kids, I was just like, I can't support this country in any way. I'm not spending any of my money here. I'm going.
Yeah, no, there's lots going on in Canada that anyone with common sense shouldn't be agreeing with. And especially like as of like a few weeks ago, they've, you know, actually put like a hard deadline on the unvaxxed from being able to leave the country,
which is insane.
Now, both being citizens of the country, that's a huge deal, because as a citizen, you have like the liberty to like freely move across the country and come in and leave whenever you'd like.
And it says so in our passport.
That's the best point.
I'm like, how can they just what? Like, do I no?
And they said until the beginning of November, you're allowed to leave as you are, and then until the end of November, you're only allowed to leave with a negative PCR test. So we were both in this group. We were scrambling to make plans, and that's around the time that I put out my call on my Twitter and YouTube. You guys should know about it. looking to get some Hexicans together under one roof and, spend the winter, which, like Joe Biden says is going to be a cold winter.
Oh.
Who knows what that'll mean? Let's see. Let's find out.
Code words.
Yeah. And actually spend the winter together with like-minded folks.
Yeah.
Perhaps even producing Hex content.
Yeah.
Now, everyone was exchanging notes. Myself and Penelope, we touched base, and we gave each other some pointers, and then we didn't talk for a while, right? Until you actually made it out of Canada. So I already come to, Mexico like 3 weeks ago, and then a week ago or so, Penelope messaged me saying that she's also in Mexico, and she's traveling and she's looking to link up. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, you had made a post like, hey, any digital nomads who are like my age group want to get a mansion or a house together. And I was like, yeah, I do. Okay, that would be great, because I was thinking of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just decided to keep in touch with you, and luckily it worked out, and here we are living in the same beautiful apartment.
Yeah. So if you guys are stuck in Canada, you still have like 2 weeks or so to flee, because who knows when you'll be able to leave after. I know that the mandates are a bit of a gray zone. Nothing's like set in stone. Nothing's like a law.
I think it might be a little bit of smoke and mirrors too, because
it is. There's always going to be loopholes.
They failed to mandate the nurses in Ontario and Quebec to get, because they realized how many they would lose.
Yeah.
And they also failed to mandate it for Transport Canada, which I think is going to set a huge precedent.
Okay.
Because how can they make travelers be vaccinated if the very staff in the airports and travel centers or train stations don't have to be vaccinated? I think they're going to try. I don't know if they're going to succeed. They might succeed for a bit and then have to rescind it. I think it's really like a scare tactic, like most of this stuff was.
A lot of coercion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But unfortunately, they're getting to the folks that are like, that have their like livelihoods on the line.
Totally.
So
yeah, they have to COVID cave.
Yeah.
They have no choice.
Yeah. The the airport workers, they're probably going to get jabbed.
Mm-hmm.
But whether Transport Canada is going to weigh on the subject is still, we'll find out.
Yeah.
But what's, for sure, what we know now is, Canadians have a slim window to flee the country because these lockdowns are going to keep going on. It's going to be I think a few weeks ago, they said that they had a timeline of removing all the restrictions. And then last night I saw news that they're going into lockdown again.
They are.
Yeah. So it's just constant roller coasters, and that's going to continue.
I think it's until, psychological warfare on us.
Right. Until people, the only way out, as you may know, is united non-compliance.
Yes.
Just saying no to your employer, to the clerk when you walk in and you say you're exempt. That's the way out of this.
Yeah. But people are. I would be in Costco or any of those places. I refuse to wear a mask.
Right.
Unless some little old lady who worked there asked me, because I don't want to fight with her. But I know she's just trying to do her job. But I would just be like, really? They got you?
I know, and unfortunately, they're like, oh, our hands are tied.
But I would be the only person not wearing a mask.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I look around, and people would be looking at me like, oh, she's not wearing a mask.
So you can do it. Yeah.
And so I'm trying to set the example. You can say no, and nothing bad will happen. You can still shop here.
Well, here's my example. I when I went to vote in the federal election, I didn't wear a mask. And there's a few checkpoints you kind of get to, you sign in, then you go to the building. And then you go to the very last checkpoint where you cast your ballot. And I told them, I'm not wearing a mask. And, as long as you're respectful, they'll reciprocate.
Yeah, most people don't want to even be enforcing that.
So in my case, they actually, it's on touchscreen.
Oh. Why does when I touch it
goes
I
think you get closer to the camera and then it readjusts the light.
Ah, okay.
But so and as long as I was respectful, they they accepted my stance, and they actually took a few minutes, but they brought the ballots outside. They said, okay, follow me and you can cast your vote outside. And I thanked them. I cast my vote, and then I looked over to the herd of the sheep, And I'm like, people, like, you can take your diapers off and tell them, like, you're not gonna you're not gonna comply, you're not gonna be obedient,
literally, if
just to
everybody
cast your
just
vote.
was like, no more, and stopped. I kept trying to get people to do that. I'd be like, everybody just stop, like, just don't do it. But
so unfortunately, it gets to like a breaking point, and unfortunately, at some point you kind of have to give up. You know, if people are gonna stay plugged into the matrix, you got to do what's best in your interest. So we both felt like Canada was like a sinking ship, and we needed to get off that ship. So
and Mexico was open,
and luckily
it's warm, and it's a lot cheaper than Miami. That's why I came here.
Yeah, you guys, we did our research, like what are the options, and for anyone who's in North America, like States or Canada, Mexico is like the most obvious choice. It's nearby. It's a direct flight. The cost is good. The weather is perfect.
Amazing.
You know, we've landed in October, already past the rainy season. So now the weather is perfect. It's like, what would you say? Like 30?
It's 27 today. It's kind of cloudy and overcast, so there's a nice breeze. It's not overwhelming. I love it because you can like go out without a sweater. You can bring a sweater. Like I tend to get chilly, but yeah, you can literally be out at night in like a tank top and you could be fine, which I can't even do that in Vancouver in the summer because I'm too cold usually.
Perfect. So the weather's perfect. I'm walking around in shorts, never have to put any pants or sweaters on. Tank tops. It's great. It's great. The sun's, in my opinion, is like not too hot. We're currently in a place with a rooftop terrace. A lot of these places, all around us, they're usually like up to like 4 or 5 stories tall. Maximum, like 5 stories maximum. And then everyone has a rooftop pool. Our place especially we love it. It not only does it have a rooftop, it has multiple rooftop pools, a ton of like lounge area, but it also has a stocked bar
and a game room
throughout the day. And a gym. Like it's
so we don't really have to go too far.
So like to my brothers in Canada that haven't been to a gym in 2 years, you know, like me, I had to find a way out, right? Like I want to take care of myself. I want to maintain my immune system. And it looked like in Canada, the decisions they weren't making
weren't about our health.
So for that reason, I had to come to Mexico to stay healthy, eat, locally sourced food, eat a lot of fruits and veggies, and work out. And that's what we get here in Mexico.
For less. Less prices. Or less expensive.
And like a better, like in Canada, you can barely afford living downtown. And here we're like 4 blocks from the beach, but we could be as close as even 1 block from the beach. So there's a lot of great opportunities here. That's for sure.
You guys should pack up your bags and come find us.
Anyone who needs like a push, get in touch with us. Your Crypto Nella on Instagram. I'm Staked Wealth on Twitter and YouTube. And message us if you want to get.
And if you're on Telegram, you could find that group, Canadians Escaping to Mexico. They're organizing, if you can't leave right now, they're organizing chartering private flights. Because there is a lot of people who have families and businesses and pets and things, and they can't just luckily we're just 2 single people with our laptops and our tech stuff and a backpack, and we can just bounce. So, we have it a lot easier than quite a few of our, fellow Canadians, but they are organizing creative ways, boats. I heard some people are maybe going to sail out of Vancouver and, just get out that way.
Literally like a pirate ship.
Literally.
So cool.
It's pretty sad though. That's what it's come down to,
It is.
I definitely realized when I started thinking I have to get out of here, otherwise I'll be stuck here. And I was seeing things about, in Australia, the martial law that's happening.
Police state.
And, martial law has been something that I've been privy to for the last, 3, 4, or 5 years. I never really thought about it before, but then I realized, okay, the RCMP worked for the Crown, and the English, I'm part English, no offense to my people, but what the fuck, you guys did a lot of crazy things, especially with the Indigenous, and all of the things that are coming out about the residential schools that we didn't learn that in school. We didn't learn. So now finding things out on my own and doing my own research and seeing how devilish you know, those
Yeah.
colonizers were.
Probably likely a lot of our viewers have no idea what we're even talking about when we say residential schools.
Oh,
Do you want to
gosh.
give just a brief synopsis
Yeah.
of like what is going on in Canada that the rest of the world it doesn't even know about, isn't even aware, because our country has such a dark side to it and a dark
built
past.
on racism, just like the States. Yeah, so the English and other, you know, European countries came in, specifically England, to Canada, and they created residential schools, and they basically separated all of the Indigenous kids from their families and wanted to indoctrinate them into Canadian, aka
Culture.
British culture.
Yeah.
And so they tried to erase their language, their culture, and everything that made them Indigenous or Native,
Unique.
and make them fit in their mold of what they wanted. But they're obviously extremely racist, and their intentions were not, you know, good. The churches were basically like partnered with the Canadian government and the Crown Corporation, which is owned by the Queen of England. And they put everybody into residential schools, which is like boarding schools.
Yeah.
And they taught them how to be more white.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they ended up murdering like thousands and thousands of
kids.
them.
And now, like, what is it, like 60 years later? Or...
The last residential school, I think, was closed in like the early 90s, which is insane.
Yeah.
So it's still very recent and very raw. And I actually grew up in a neighborhood with a lot of Native kids, and there's like a lot of like social housing for Natives.
Yeah.
And so I grew up with a lot of them. And by the time I was in grade 5, grade 6, you really start to notice like, okay, like these kids are suffering from a lot of problems that even my like immigrant friends who were like poor, they didn't have the same sort of like problems at home. A lot of drug abuse and alcoholism, and a lot of like my, you know, Native friends and stuff, by the time they were 13, 14, they were like getting pregnant, partying, drinking, drugs. And it's really, really sad to see. And I didn't really understand like why. Like we're all in the same class together. We're all community here, but they just have this generational trauma that does affect them in such a big way. And it's still playing out. You know?
But going back to residential schools, they literally like mass murdered a lot of kids, and now
they're starting to find them.
They're like
uncover them.
Like just skeletons among skeletons.
Yeah. So I watched a documentary that said like 50,000 kids went missing around, which is probably more than that. And right now they found around 7,000 of them.
Yeah. And for those reasons, like people shouldn't be naive to believe that the government really has their best interests in mind.
Yeah, they committed genocide.
Yeah, if people continue to comply and go along with the tyrannies and the so-called mandates, it's not going to end well.
No.
Right? And already with, seeing who's actually going along with this and who isn't, gives you an idea of like if we were back in like World War II times, who would actually go along with what like the Nazis and whoever would tell them to do. So at some point,
not that far off.
Yeah.
It's really like actually the same process that they're doing, right?
Exactly.
Propaganda, division, coercion, making people rely on the state. You know, people who need the government money to survive right now because they got put in that position are not going to necessarily say absolutely no way, because how are they going to feed their family if they don't go along with it, right? So it's pretty scary.
And that obviously ties into cryptocurrencies, because aside from cryptocurrencies being like the most like lucrative asset in human history, it's it empowers people to be like self-sovereign and maintain control of their dollars, do whatever they wish, right? Because where this is heading, especially like I told you in Ontario, as of like, I don't know, a week ago or whatever, they are coming out with a digital driver's license. They want to digitize everything. They want to digitize obviously your double jab receipt, which again, if you go along with that, it's not going to end at 2 jabs, right? No. It's going to be you're on a
There's
SAS.
Space for 8.
Yeah.
Already.
Right. But it's going to get digitized. And if you don't go along with the 4th one, right, and the 5th one, you're like not going to.
They just keep taking away your rights again until you comply.
So you can't give them an inch because they're going to take a whole yard, right? And for that reason, like this is why we took like a hard no and came out here to Mexico. So on topic of cryptocurrencies, let me know what you are interested in, like who you've met, right? You said you like on your Miami trip, right? You've come across really good communities.
Totally.
My favorite one you mentioned was the Pirate Chain guys.
Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So you had a positive experience with all types of communities in cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Let us know kind of what your top interests are currently. You mentioned something about NFTs.
Yeah.
What do you dabble in?
I was really lucky to have met the people I did. Like I said, it's a tight-knit community. They're very inclusive. They're inviting me. They have a lot of weekly meetups. And so I met a guy named Daniel 𝙒𝙏𝙗, who is behind 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙘𝙝. It's going to be a e-commerce platform powered by crypto, like an Amazon, where it's like a peer-to-peer. You can sell anything to anyone.
Hold that thought. Let me just mention one thing as a side note, but I'll let you continue. Guys, side note, okay, if you're a Hexkin, you're likely a maximalist. But with the launch of Pulse Chain right around the corner, likely within a month, I want to exercise your mindset to be much more open to other projects and other ideas. So for that reason, we're going to talk about stuff outside of HEX because we need to be inclusive to the various projects that are on their way to Pulse Chain, right?
Yeah, plus you're going to want to spend all of your returns on something, right? So like...
Right. And again, like in cryptocurrencies, you need to have a toolbox and you need to have a toolbox full of various applications. If you're into something that concerns privacy, you're going to use Monero, right? If you're going to use, if you're going to want to store value, obviously, with dividends, HEX is the best option.
Yeah.
But you also need to be diversified in the kind of exchanges you use, especially decentralized exchanges, in case some go down.
And there's so many niches. That's what I learned is that crypto is literally applicable to every type of business, from the smart chain technology to the DeFi to the DAO, right? You have, and then the NFTs and the art space, the creative community.
And do you think there's a big future in NFTs?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see it for like collectibles? Like I saw a video about again the NFL, the MLB getting into trading cards. On the NFT on the blockchain.
Totally.
I think brilliant.
Everything that we're currently doing and everything that we currently love, and from products to art to experiences to music, NFTs are applicable. The technology is applicable, right? So every niche experience is actually coming up again soon. I think it's coming up this weekend, which was I felt like I was at like crypto camp for adults. Like it was like a summer camp, like 3 days, super like small, like not too big. Like there was like, I think maybe like 20 different exhibitors, and like Rick Ross did a performance at 9/11 where they dropped a 9/11 Porsche painted by a local Miami artist. And so they had this whole like 9/11 thing going on. And it was just a really cool experience. I got to like make friends with so many people, and that led to me like collaborating and working. So I actually, Daniel, the 𝙒𝙗𝙗 guy, he wanted to create a product that he could sell as like a test and his own product. And so I pitched him an idea, which was candles, because I used to make candles and sell candles. And I was like, everybody loves candles. They last forever, shelf life, no expiry date, easy to ship, solid, like, they're affordable. Men love them, women love them, men love to buy them for women, like, and they're like a consumable. So once you buy one, you're going to want to buy another one.
Okay. And how does that relate to crypto?
So, because he wanted a product he could sell on his platform when it was ready.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I ended up making him like 300 candles or something as like a test thing. So that was my first kind of like brand strategy, kind of biz dev stuff with him. And then I met Captain Haiti. And I love what he's so passionate. He was literally dressed as a superhero, and his project is a social good project. So when you buy Little Haiti coins, it sponsors a cleanup of Little Haiti, and they actually put coins. It's based off Cardano, so they put coins into the pockets or wallets, I should say, of Haitians in Haiti and Haitians in Little Haiti. And he's designed tokenomics where it's going to help empower and create generational wealth for the people who made Little Haiti, because now that's like the next big place for developers. So the gentrification is coming, and he's trying to basically hedge like the gentrification. So instead of pushing everybody out, it's going to be including them, and they're going to be able to actually profit and participate in the I don't know. Rejuging of Little Haiti.
Revitalization.
Right? Exactly, that's the word. So he's got properties that he's been entrusted with to renovate and redevelop, like a whole cultural block. Yeah. So I've been in like just marketing and brand advising, like did things like help him set up a photo shoot and help him, tell him like what kind of videos he should make to get the word out. And he just calls me every day and we talk for like an hour, half an hour, and he tells me what's going on, and then I give him my feedback and stuff. Yeah. So that's been really interesting. Definitely check out Little Haiti Coin. It's a really cool project. And he actually inspired Miami to create their own coin.
Right.
So he's in with like the commissioner and the government people, right? So he made a presentation to them about what he was doing, and they basically then were like, oh, we want to make our own coin. So they've made Miami Coin. You can get Miami Coin, and you can actually stake it. They had a really good staking. It was 430% return into STX. And then so I staked mine, and then I just like bought Bitcoin and staked that. So the staking thing is really cool, and it's kind of new to me. So I'm learning about that more. What else did I get involved in? The NFT. So I got randomly included into like planning an after party rave for the Miami Crypto Exchange event. And from there, I met another guy who is creating an NFT company. Yeah. So that's how I got into like NFT art, and so now I'm working with them. They're called Fly NFTs, and then the partners who started it, they divided. So the other guy's about to launch his other brand as well, so I'll be able to talk about that one soon too. But luckily, like, I don't know, just being the creative type that I am and having a lot of friends in music and art, I've always loved art and been doing art, so I have like a lot of contacts. So I was like, oh, I could be an artist curator and bring artists to the platform. So that's what I've been focused on. I signed like 7 or 8 artists to them. So now we're working on their art pieces, launching them. Some pretty notable artists as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm going to be collaborating with one of them to like do some art of like a portrait of him. I'm not going to say who yet, but you guys watch. Cool. Yeah, and I'm going to be dropping my own NFT.
Follow her. So you want to plug your Instagram?
Yeah, I just made a new Instagram specifically for crypto related stuff. It's Crypto Nella, and I'm also at NellaVision. And if you guys are interested in like
on Instagram,
yeah,
both are on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm also on Twitter, but I'm not very active because my Twitter got hacked and deleted my like 4,000 followers.
And it seems like Mexico is also not a bad hub for crypto.
Yes, that's part of the reason. Also, I got one of my friends in Canada. He's got a company startup called 𝙏𝙝𝙖𝙣𝙠𝙨, and it's art. NFT art for mental health. So he's working with like mental health practitioners, artists, and using art to make people feel better and stay happy. And right now is obviously a very good time. A lot of people are suffering from depression and anxiety, and the whole climate in Canada has been such a downer. Like you look around and people are just like, I don't know, they don't look alive to me anymore. Like I'd be out and about and everybody just seems like really down. Yeah.
And you messaged me that open mic thing, the pitch.
Tonight.
Yeah, that's tonight.
Yeah, we should go.
Well, I applied to it.
Oh, did? Okay,
well,
good.
Yeah, I applied to it and I said, I'd like to go on the open mic and pitch HEX.
Yes.
Though I did look it up. And I mean, it's pretty like up there. It's pretty north, but it's only like I don't know. We'll get there in like 10 minutes or less by taxi. Okay. So it's not that far.
Yeah.
But they haven't replied yet. So like, I don't know. I'll go like if they confirm, because it was pretty last minute, and like who knows how busy it'll be.
Yeah.
I'll go like if they confirm like my spot.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
And when I saw that you were into crypto and like HEX, and it was weird because that same day, somebody on my Instagram had sent me a video about HEX.
Yeah.
And it was with the founder, and he was being interviewed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I haven't heard of it yet. And of course, I want to live with some guys who are in crypto because I'm trying to like tap in as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. So what a coincidence. So
I felt like it was like a sign.
Yeah, we messaged the same day that she had just like heard about HEX.
Like I had literally finished watching the video, and then I saw that you were like Hexakin, and I was like, wow, I feel like this is totally meant to be.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about HEX. So luckily in crypto, there's so many utilities and just so many avenues to go into. So if you're coming from like a design background, you're going to gravitate towards NFTs. If you're coming from like a technology background, well, you're going to gravitate towards Ethereum because you can actually build and program on Ethereum. And then obviously, other than that, people are getting into crypto because of their family and friends. They're, telling them, hey, there's this cool project. They really believe in the future. Look into it.
Even my mom, like 2 weeks before I left, she's like, I want to get some crypto. Can you come help me? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are waking up to it, right? Even aside from like millennials. The boomers also realize that, their purchasing power is going down. And they need some tool inflation, which like past.
I just saw yesterday 6.5% increase just this month in the States.
That's officially, and then unofficially it's probably like double-digit percentage.
Right? Yeah, and we see the list of the inflation going on everywhere around the world. It's pretty troubling, and like my ex-boyfriend's from Zimbabwe, and like they suffered huge problems with inflation. Where now like a loaf of bread is like $3 million or something, right? It's like doesn't make any sense anymore. And then they just literally like got rid of their own currency and only use US currency there. So that really woke me up to like, what is money? What is this? What is the value? Like, what does this really mean?
Shared fiction, right? Like
and like I love that crypto was created as a way to explore the exchange of human value. And what does that really mean? And why do we need the fiat system, right? And why are we allowing these
central banks to
evil people? Like when you look into the history of like the Rothschild and the Rockefellers on how they got their money and then how they played us, like we're getting taxed. Literally, there's like 70 taxes that we pay. Like we get paid on our income. Then we pay tax on our income, but we also pay tax on every single thing we buy on our property. Like it's like never
you buy a house, you sell a house, you pay capital gains,
and now they want to tax you on
unrealized
gains.
So shout out in my last video, watch my last video, the passive income you need to escape Canada. Talked a lot about what's coming to Canada. Aside from the unrealized capital gains tax, there's also a luxury vehicle tax coming in January. Any vehicle above $100,000, which is like, like everything. Like,
well, look at the price of like even like Mazdas have gone through the roof. Like, what?
So then those are taxed at 30% instead of your provincial tax of like
30%. Like, where do they think that we're getting all this money from? And then they're using our money to go pay the pharmaceutical companies.
Who God knows.
And then they're giving kickbacks to our politicians, obviously. Like it's a big racket.
So the first step to break out of the system is like taking control of your money, and instead of having your money in your bank and begging them just to withdraw cash oftentimes.
That was a thing actually that happened to me when I was in Miami. I was setting up my American bank, and just getting like everything going was such a hassle. Like it was a long weekend. My bank was closed, 9 to 5, have to wait for the manager, all this stuff. And I literally made a video on my Instagram. Like, this is why crypto is important, because I don't have to deal with all this bureaucracy, red tape, rules, people, 9 to 5. Like I could just send myself my own
send whoever
from wallet to wallet and it's done and it's good and it would be so easy. So that was like a big push for me too, that made me realize early on like this is definitely the future,
and just how like you have like the most widely used cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're used to transact. So nowadays people are accepting those cryptocurrencies for the sale of their goods and of their services. But similar to
I accept crypto. If you guys need a designer, Holler
for
at me.
interior design, right?
Brand strategy, graphic design, whatever.
There you go.
Anything creative, let me know.
There you go. Yeah. You know, aside from the currency, what's also, you know, necessary for people to have in their portfolio is an actual store value. And sure, some people say that, you know, Bitcoin was store value, but originally Bitcoin was never a store value. Right? The original intent of Bitcoin was to be.
That's just their narrative.
Sorry?
That's just the narrative.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's like what they push.
Yeah, the narrative's like it's been morphed, right?
Yeah.
But you know, HEX, for example, like our favorite cryptocurrency, from the get-go, its original intent was to be the best possible store value, to eliminate middlemen, to earn you interest on holding, right? So it's essentially like the best savings account. So my recommendation to anyone I come across and anyone I talk to and onboard is obviously dabble in cryptos, but you know, have.
Can't wait to get my first HEX. It's gonna happen this week.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to get Penelope some HEX. I'm gonna pin her address at the top. And right now we're going to talk about HEX. So if you like what you heard and you like to, you know, donate HEX or Ethereum, feel free to send it to that address. It's pinned on top of the YouTube comments. I'm 100% staked, but if anyone has any spare, you know, Ethereum for gas or HEX laying around, she would love to get some HEX.
Yeah.
So
set me up, guys.
So let's talk about HEX and what it could do for people, right?
Yeah.
So yesterday we talked a little bit about it. You checked out my website, stakedwealth.com.
Yep.
Again, the whole point of my website is
very educational.
Yeah, it's educational. I try to aggregate a lot of resources. I try to optimize the text for people that prefer to read, and then I try to link to a lot of videos for visual learners.
Yeah.
And through that,
good job.
Yeah, thank you. And through that, actually, I don't know if you know, but I have stickers. So I actually spread stickers all across Ontario.
Okay, let's get some printed here.
Oh no, I brought 500 with me.
Okay, give me some.
So I'm gonna be spreading them, and it looks like this kind of like this city. The people do spread a lot of stickers. They're like on you know, stop signs and everywhere. So I'll be spreading a lot of stickers, and hopefully getting a lot of attention here in Mexico. And again, helping people see the light. Perhaps they've been burned in some, you know, fly-by-night projects like that Squid Game token, and anything else. And perhaps
that was like the most beautiful irony.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry people got scammed, but come on, you should have known better. Like,
it was horrible. Did you know that they actually stopped selling? They made selling impossible like the 2 hours before the big crash. So it was just like a big pump, and then they just rug pulled. Anyways,
like anybody who's gonna make a Squid Game based
like meme
crypto
token
is not to be trusted. Like, did you even? I just only watched 1.5 episodes. I had to turn it off. It was so violent, but
it's not for me.
Yeah, I was like, no.
Yeah. So for people that are seeking something better, that are looking to grow their wealth. That's why I'm called Staked Wealth, because this is beyond just like quick money. This is beyond making a buck. This is about generating wealth. And in our case of Hexkins, it's about generational wealth.
Which would be nice.
Which would be pretty
I would
sweet.
like that.
Right. So let me tell you a little bit about HEX.
Okay.
It's been around for 2 years. Its 2-year birthday is actually coming up on the 2nd of December, and they're hosting a big London meetup there.
Hey, can we face chat in or what?
It's you have to do like a 5-day quarantine if you go to London.
No. I'm saying, can we virtually participate?
Yeah, I think they will stream.
Because we could have like a HEX party and stream it.
Oh, we will.
Okay.
like
I love to plan parties, so
as you guys know, Richard hasn't streamed for last little bit, but I'm sure as soon as he starts streaming, which should hopefully be like this weekend, because he had like a cold or something. We are gonna be having like HEX parties. Like we have like 4 Hexkins under one roof. Obviously you're invited. We'll do
part of the squad.
We'll do like a drinking game like anytime Richard swears, take a shot.
Oh, God.
And he swears quite a bit. He can go on tangents. So, and we got cheap tequila here, so
Hey.
we'll party it up. But yeah, so HEX has been around for 2 years, and though it's had its like ups and downs, currently it's in a bit of a dip as people are taking profit since it's appreciated over 10,000x.
Yeah, well, makes sense.
Yeah, and largely that's
everybody wants to get their portion, whatever, right?
Exactly. So it's fair. It's fair for people to take profit. You know,
that's the whole
people have to do it at some point. So in 2 years, it's gone up 10,000x. Now, the best part of that is that was its original intent. So when Richard launched this project, or I should say product, right? Because the best part of it is, unlike everything else or most other things in cryptocurrencies, which are projects and they're constantly being optimized, and they're raising money to fund the developers to keep working on the code and generate and pay for marketing to get collaborations and partnerships.
And then behind the scenes, there's always like drama.
People's
personal lives, things happen,
bribes happen, like kickbacks. Hey, if you talk about this, we'll give you a big allocation, and they dump it on their followers. So unlike all that, the beauty in HEX is Richard spent the first 2 years of it prior to launching actually writing the complete smart contract. So HEX, all it is a smart contract that lives on the Ethereum network. It's a complete line of code. It's open source, so anyone can actually go and assess it, read it, evaluate it. And what's also great is he also invested into getting it triple audited. So like a lot of projects out there, there's obviously like lines of code, but unless you're a programmer, you can't really assess whether that's like reliable, secure, and kind of bulletproof. So Richard, and I should mention that he's been wealthy from getting into Bitcoin early, and even before then, he was a very successful entrepreneur. At one point, having a mortgage company with nearly 100 employees. So he's someone who
he's scaled a big business already.
And that's attractive to investors looking at HEX because the leader, the founder of it, is someone who knows what it's like to build big businesses, is someone who comes from a very serious background and isn't just in it for a quick buck.
Long-term vision, playing the long game is
very long-term,
very important.
So so he invested into all the work to build a bulletproof smart contract, and then invested into getting it triple audited, both for its security and economics. And essentially what it is a certificate of deposit on the blockchain. Now, you know, both of us being, you know, fairly young adults, I know myself, I've never heard of what a certificate of deposit is. Now, a certificate of deposit, the term is different based on where you are. In Canada, it's more so like RSVP, not even an RSVP, but like a GIC. It's like a government bond. So you can go to the bank and you can buy like a 5-year.
You meant RRSP.
Yeah.
RSVP is what you do.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know why I said RSVP.
That's okay. I do that all the time.
Yeah. But the bank, they will issue you that like GIC, but your interest rate is going to be like measly, like probably going to be a measly like 1% or lower.
I remember when I first got to Miami, my bank emailed me like special savings account 1.5%, and I had just I had bought Doge, like $200 worth of Doge, and it went up, and I was like, what? My Doge doubled. Like, why would I put money into this savings account?
But here, a certificate of deposit is like a next layer to a savings account because it requires a time lock. So whereas your savings account, you can always kind of pull out of it, and that's why the interest rate is especially low. A certificate of deposit, or what we have in Canada, like a GIC, it's going to require a term commitment. So it's going to actually require you to not touch that money for 2, 5, 10 years, etc. And for that reason, it's a bit of a better interest rate, but it's still around like, I don't know, like a few percent.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's nothing. And then when you actually get at the end of your term, get your principal and interest, that purchasing power has like nuked.
Right, because of inflation.
Yeah. So sure, you'll get
so
like a couple grand, but it's like
6.5%
nothing.
inflation in 1 month, but you're making 2.5 on your savings account that you have to sit on for like 5 years.
Right.
Literally makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. It's a bit backwards. So in that regard, actually, as maybe some of you know, Canada has some of the most inflated like housing market in the world.
Yes.
And it's largely driven due to that investor shift of up until recent decades. People have been buying into bonds. People have been staking their fiat with the government because they were paying out reasonable rates and inflation wasn't out of control.
Yeah.
But in recent history, there's been this shift and they've brought down interest rates to near zero and incentivized your average investor to instead buy real estate because they can they can put down like 5, 10, 15%, leverage the rest, and over time their mortgage actually decreases as their debt becomes devalued due to inflation.
Yeah.
So that's partly why the housing in Canada is so out of control. And for young people like you and me, at some point it's even unaffordable.
My live video ended. Why?
Yeah, maybe it's like an hour.
Oh.
Yeah. And
that's all they get. YouTube's better, obviously.
YouTube's better, yeah. So going back to a certificate of deposit. So what Richard did is he looked at it in the real world and he saw that it worked, but the interest rates weren't very attractive. But he essentially just copied that concept that worked for securing billions and actually trillions of dollars. If you actually combine the CD market in just the US and China, it's something like $7 trillion that's still like locked up in government bonds. Compared to actually the currency, I think if you combine like the currency of both countries, it's something like $5 trillion. So the CD is a very significant market that you probably haven't heard of because like they don't teach this in like schools and then no one talks about it. But the people pulling the strings, behind the scenes, this is what they dabble in. They have like large sums of money. It's either invested in real estate or these bonds and CDs. So Richard saw this brilliant concept, and what he also saw from being in crypto for many years is that the only thing that matters to price appreciation, which is what most people are in cryptocurrencies, right? They want to, make their investment grow more so than they're in it just to dabble with the technology and assess what it could, do to change the world. He realized that the only thing that matters to price appreciation is people buying and not selling, right? So buy and sell, everything's like supply and demand.
Yeah.
And if you buy and you sell, well, then the price will kind of stagnate. But if you just buy and then more people buy, well, the price will appreciate.
Right.
If there's more sellers than buyers, the price will dip.
Yeah.
So it's pretty rudimentary. But how do you get to incentivize the common investor to actually buy and hold and actually sit on their investment? Well, you do it by paying them an interest rate.
Right.
So in HEX, not only can you buy the token and simply just hold in your wallet, but you can actually apply it in the form of a stake, in the form of a locked, a locked investment, and let it accrue interest. And if more people do that, then there will be less HEX available on the market, and for that reason, the price will go up. So I'll even show you here's like the chart of HEX, for example, and as you can see, the chart goes up and to the right. That was the original intent. This has been like 10,000x. Currently, it's kind of dipping, but with every dip,
that's a good time for me to get in.
Yeah, every dip is followed by all-time highs.
Right.
And if you actually look at my shirt and look at the HEX logo, the hexagons, which is like a very futuristic symbol, they're pointing up and to the right, right? They're growing. Yeah. So HEX has been engineered from the ground, from the core, to be a quickly appreciating asset through this, tokenomics of buying it and locking it up to earn interest on it and letting it grow. Right. I think like we both talked about, we both had times in our past where we've bought into a cryptocurrency and perhaps sold out of it too early, right? We thought we knew better, and we took gains of like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x, thinking that
I've actually never taken any of mine out yet.
Okay. Well,
Sad on. I traded a few here to there because I saw things were going up, but I have left everything in there so far.
In my case, I've taken profit on like Ethereum. Like I bought Ethereum at $40, sold it at $150, thought I was a genius, and then went up to 4,000.
Yeah.
So,
but you were a genius in that moment.
Right, but what?
And hopefully you did something with that money that led to the next thing.
Unfortunately, it made me like lose it all because then like I just kept like dabbling with different things, and then it just went spiraled out of control.
I also think that's part of the crypto journey,
right?
Like we all have to go through like getting knocked down a little bit to kind of like,
of course,
learn to not be emotional or be impatient or take too much risks or whatever, right?
So, but like Bitcoin, for example, went up 6 million x.
Yeah.
How many people do you think actually captured that price appreciation?
Literally, probably nobody.
Probably nobody. Yeah.
Because you want to do things with your life, right?
Other than we talked about like people who lost their coins.
Yeah, they lost their
Satoshi, who's still holding on. It's like 4 million Bitcoin or more.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's created by the Illuminati?
I
heard that.
You want to talk about it? You want to talk about Satoshi conspiracies?
Yeah, I want to. Well, to me, it's like
I gotta take.
It's obviously not who they say it is. Like
you don't think it's one person?
No.
Just kind of in his basement, coming up with this brilliant concept.
Maybe it started as that, but like I don't think okay, if we know it was a Japanese programmer who did it in college or something, why can't we figure like how come nobody knows who it was?
Well, that's not confirmed. All we can go off of is like his public forum posts with hints being like sometimes when he'd write, he'd have double spaces. Like double spaces between words.
Okay.
And that's something that like British people would do.
British?
Yeah. So people assume like whoever Satoshi is would have likely been from the UK.
Oh.
And then also based on his time zone of his posts.
Or maybe he went to school in the UK.
Yeah, it can be different things. He could be a young person, he could be an old person. He could have died from old age, he could have died from some, who knows? But like, I think whoever it is, I don't think they're on this planet any longer because I don't think, I mean, unless you do believe it was like a secret society that created it, but no one can hold on to that kind of fortune for this long. Like I think he's the rich. If he were to realize those gains, he would be the richest person in the world. Like it's like billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So I think it's impossible for that person to still be around nowadays. So that's why a lot of people believe he would have died.
Right.
But similar to you, I also a good conspiracy theory I heard is people who that know their way around code say that it is like so high quality and it is so like intricate that it likely wouldn't have been made by one person. It was likely a group effort. So I heard some people say, it was like the CIA, it was like the cryptographers that actually like would work for the CIA could come up with something like this. Because at the core, it's cryptography. It's actually like scrambling everything and then having to unscramble it. But yeah, maybe it was Illuminati. I don't know, Freemasons. Like
well, the Freemasons run the world for real.
Yeah, no,
I have personal experience meeting them.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been offered 2 jobs in the last. Actually, one was in Miami. I met a lawyer, and he was a Freemason, and he was 32nd degree, which is like 1 degree from the top.
Yeah.
And he loved Nietzsche, and he had like this sculpture, and he was like, I was picking his brain because I was like, I've heard a little bit about Freemasonry, but I didn't know that much. Yeah. And previously I got introduced to like this billionaire guy who wanted to hire me to essentially bribe the Indian government. He exports natural gas from BC to India, and it's one of his biggest clients. And he wanted them to sign a 50-year-long contract with him. And so he's like, I've invested a lot of money to keep them happy. And so basically my job would be to just be charming and helpful and like book them vacations when they come to Vancouver or go to Dubai, send their wife to the spa, set them up with escorts, take them all out to dinner, do family vacation planning, just spoil them basically, right? I didn't take the job because ultimately he like wanted me to do things I wasn't willing to do. They were all gross. Gross old men, basically. And then the second guy was a lawyer, and he was third, second degree stonemason, and he wanted me to bribe politicians, because he wanted to get into arms dealing, and
Wow.
also not in my ethos.
Yeah.
And also like they both wanted to like make me their like sugar baby sex slave,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I kind of draw the line at like just professional stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm good. But yeah, so I learned more about stonemason or Freemasons, and he told me like they all do business together. Anytime you want to do something in business, there's like a directory you can call, and they'll say, so like the first guy, I guess he's not as high up ranking. So he wanted to buy a Range Rover for his nanny, and so he calls their whatever service, and then they say, okay, like this guy sells these cars. So he's like, I had to go all the way to Winnipeg to get my Range Rover, but it's because like we keep our business in our circles, right? And so yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah. I'm reading a good book about it. It's called Architects of Deception, and it explains the actual like red pill history and how they say like we've been taught one version of history,
totally,
and the author refers to it as everyone's in a consensus trance where they're just like they're fed like this blue pill,
totally,
narrative, but it's like kind of like the Da Vinci Code, like where he like actually like
breaks it down,
like actually like what do you call it? Like actually like shows all the bloodlines and actually like brings.
When you start learning about the bloodlines and like the Ashkenazi Jews and then the Rothschilds and all connections is crazy.
And he like writes the history from actually like start to finish.
I want to read this book when you're done.
Yeah, like I tweeted about it. If you guys go on my Twitter, I tweeted about it. I'll show you. It's very, very interesting. It's like 500 pages. You can't find it anywhere except like eBay for limited copies. I have like an ebook.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. They talk about the fake moon landing. They talk about like what actually, like largely, like how like World War II was funded and that kind of stuff. But yeah, he also like but he's brilliant for referencing every little thing.
Right.
And a lot of the literature is from Freemasonry literature, like the kind of literature that you would only get within the club. Like they have a whole magazine. They have magazine issues.
Yeah.
And he references.
Yeah, they're teaching each other like these long lost secrets that like society doesn't get to be privy to.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to HEX. So HEX really, it kind of maximizes what people care about in cryptocurrencies, which is the price going up and them getting rich. But it also doesn't.
What was the term you used the other day? The simple like I want my money term.
Want my money term?
What was it? It was I need to remember it.
Custody or
no? It was like you were just going back to basics, like why people get into HEX, and it's just like price go up. That's what it was.
Number go up.
Oh, number go up.
I know, it's so like rudimentary.
We should make a shirt that says that.
Yeah.
Number go up.
Number go up. So yeah, let's not be that. The only thing like you and me really care about is number go up. Right. So don't try to say that you're in it for like because it's like a very efficient whatever.
Right.
It's like you're in it for number go up. And
we're in it for the generational wealth.
Yeah, literally.
The freedom.
Yeah,
that comes with that.
HEX appreciates so quickly that like a lot of people can't even spend like all their HEX in their lifetime. Like how many private jets can you have? How many islands can you buy?
Oh.
Yeah, like people are getting up to those levels.
If you guys are watching.
Yeah.
Pin my thing again.
Yeah, hit her up, slide in her DMs.
Yeah.
It actually capitalizes on what really matters, and it incentivizes people to just hodl, which is the tried and true, path to wealth.
Totally.
In crypto, because if you speculate, if you trade, if you jump around, in the end, it's going to bite you, and it's not as sustainable as simply holding. And probably when you got in, like I said, 2017, 2018, 2016, if you had just held that Bitcoin, whatever it was.
You mean if Quadriga guy didn't disappear
with
my money, I would have been set?
Exactly. So like, but if you had the time, you would have done like the research to learn about like cold storage and just hodling.
That was my whole plan always, was to just sit on it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is my savings for, and it still is. Like I said, I haven't taken out any of my money I've put in up to now. So
nice.
yeah.
So yeah, if people just hold anything, like if they hold Bitcoin, if they hold Ethereum, if they hold anything over years, like that is likely to just appreciate. And HEX like maximizes this. So HEX has been going up on a faster trajectory than both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So for example,
Really?
here I'm showing you a chart of Bitcoin, and it's going up at a faster velocity than Bitcoin. This year, or actually in the past, since the inception, look, this has been HEX's price appreciation relative to Ethereum, Bitcoin, and even Amazon. Right? Even Amazon, so legacy markets that also kind of go up and to the right, but are minuscule compared to HEX.
And why do you think that is? Just because the design of how HEX was?
Because it incentivizes people to just buy and not sell.
Right.
And it earns them yield on those, on that hodl. So, and here's another example. And what's also special about what I just described is, unlike other tokens which offer staking, there is a significant time lock here. So this isn't like your Mickey Mouse, stake it, pull it out, earn 400%, and hopefully it doesn't get rugged and whatnot. Here, you make a serious commitment. Like it can be a stake from between 1 day to 15.2 years. But it's very serious. It's like it's a very serious commitment. If you
can't get it out,
you technically can, but it's a very significant penalty. So you actually can, it's called emergency end staking, but it's significantly penalized. And those penalties, another good thing of why you'd like to stake, those penalties are shared amongst the staker class.
So it gets divided up. I learned about this with SafeX because he has designed a similar thing.
Nice.
Right. So every transaction, part of it goes to paying the people who staked, which I thought was so cool. I was like, wow, that is so nice.
So Pulse is going to have that, where part of the fees goes towards like the people that stake.
Right.
But in Pulse, it won't be like a time lock. You can pull it out at any time. Whereas here, because it's a time lock, the longer you go, and also the bigger you go, the more concentrated your stake is, the higher the interest rate. So the interest rate is dynamic, and dynamic based on this commitment, this lock that you create. Now, obviously, no one's required to just have one large stake years out. You can create something called a ladder. So you can take an investment and split it up as much as you'd like. You can divide it to be.
So you could do like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. So I could have different pots with different lengths. Okay.
My favorite strategy is when people do stakes on their birthday or an anniversary.
Hey, it's my birthday and I'm rich this year. I like it. Okay, I'm gonna do that. That's a great idea.
So like every birthday, you get your HEX back, and you can look forward to that, and you can't forget about it, right? Because in case you forget to end stake it, there's also a penalty that kicks in 2 weeks after the actual end time.
Okay, so if I staked it, say my birthday is April 7th. And then the end stake happens on that day.
You have to log back in and you have to end stake.
Okay, but could I just restake it if I wanted?
Yeah, you could, but you still have to pull it back out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And that way you don't forget about it. Yeah. So you also need to remember your stakes. And actually, right now I was reading an article yesterday. There's nearly a billion HEX staked, which is currently bleeding fees because people have forgot to end stake it. So likely people have lost their wallets. They've forgot about HEX, but more likely they've lost access to their wallets, and that HEX is gone into the abyss forever. So there's actually a lot of HEX being bled every day.
But where does it bleed to?
All the staker class. So it's like the smart contract pays out a dividend every single day based on the number of shares you have, which are based on the number of based on your commitment level, and it varies every day. So currently there's a payout of 5.8 HEX per T-share. We'll get into T-shares later. It's a little bit complicated. I just want to paint the general big picture for you. But yeah, that's shared amongst the stakers. And essentially what that does is it really shows who has the strongest hands, who has the most diamond hands, who can actually sit through this kind of price appreciation, who can sit through these kind of dips and still hold on to their HEX.
Yeah.
So for that reason, besides having the most shares in HEX, which I'll talk about later, people like to brag about their average stake length. So for example, my average stake length is a little over 7 years, but I'm trying to get that to over 10 years.
Okay.
So I'm trying to push more money to be locked away.
So every time you get a paycheck from your job, you put some more in, stake it for longer?
Exactly. So HEX is very flexible where you buy the tokens. You can buy that tokens with Ethereum. There's also other websites like Changely where you can buy it with Bitcoin or anything else. And then, yeah, you can, so people have, but we want to get it listed on Coinbase because Coinbase has like this auto buy thing.
Yeah, recurring buys.
Recurring buys, yeah.
Yeah, so you can just set it up.
Yeah.
OKCoin has that as well.
Okay.
Which is a newer exchange that Miami Coin got listed on. That's why I ended up signing up. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I was staking Miami Coin for 430% into STX.
Okay.
They lowered it to 280 because I think it was like a short-term promo.
Yeah, it also gets diluted. The more people that take advantage of it, the lower the APY comes down. It's more so yield, like that's called like yield farming.
Okay.
And there's a lot of intricacies with it.
So there's a difference between staking and yield farming.
A little bit, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you have to rely on more with yield farming. Like there's liquidity pools, like people actually put up money for it to actually run.
Right.
And there's a bit of counterparty risk. So there's a bit of trust where you have to like trust the Miami team,
right.
Whoever that this
it's
is
the government, so I don't know. Can you trust them?
Yeah.
Although I feel like out of all the governments, DeSantis and Miami is like the only one. I'm like, yeah, they are awesome.
Yeah, we have. Well, I wish we had something like that in Canada.
Right?
Hey, everyone would just move there.
DeSantis for prime minister.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gonna run for president.
Probably. Yeah. I heard Trump is also going to try to make a comeback, but I think DeSantis is more like.
Yeah, people were saying that they'd actually prefer Trump to be like the vice president.
That'd be
DeSantis.
Dope. That'd be dope.
Yeah. So another thing in crypto, so besides like buying cryptocurrencies and actually like holding in your wallet and actually being vigilant with your like MetaMask address, which we posted yours on the screen. If anyone would like to donate, they can send Penelope some HEX or
get me started with HEX.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying they're bleeding because of the ETH fees.
ETH fees, that's a good point. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, Modern. We'll talk about it's a whole like political thing that's worth mentioning. Where right now, if anyone's in HEX, they're likely playing with like thousands of dollars. It's a little tough getting in a couple $100,
right?
Because it'll just get eaten away by all the fees necessary on the Ethereum network. We're solving this with Pulse Chain, but yeah, it's a little bit complicated right now. What I was also going to say is, in HEX, like you are your own bank, you are your own Federal Reserve, and yeah, but that obviously comes with responsibility, like securing your wallet, making sure that only you have access to it. Because if you get hacked or it's stolen or whatnot, you can't really call tech support and try to get it back.
Right.
So
that is one scary thing about crypto.
Right. That's why some people have like opt for hardware wallets. Others opt for this Genomo wallet. I forget what it is. It has like a 24 seed phrase, 24 seed words, and I think it costs a little bit of money. That's what Staker app uses.
Yeah, if you guys have good recommendations for wallets or ledgers, let me know. We need to figure that out.
Yeah, I think for now, like MetaMask is sufficient. You just need to be vigilant with your seed phrase and make sure that doesn't get compromised. In my case, I also recommend diversifying your assets amongst more than one wallet.
Yes, I was taught that by one of my friends who's a trader, and he was like, don't put everything in one place.
Right.
So now I have like, it's all over the place.
So another thing, not your keys, not your crypto. HEX solved this. So big thing. Now what he's referring to is actually going to be my next point. All these other staking mechanisms out there, similar to yield farming, they require you to actually give up custody, actually send it into a pool, and it'll generate interest, and you can pull it back out.
Right, and people lose.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's like rug pulls where like
that just happened to somebody I know. Actually, they had a whole bunch of Tron in a staking pool, and the guy disappeared with it.
Right. Yeah, it happens.
A lot of money.
And actually, if you actually go down the rabbit hole of HEX and perhaps follow Richard Hart, he has like this 200 post Twitter thread that he maintains with the latest hacks. Like since HEX launched, like all the hacks, all the rug pulls, and it just that thread is. I link it on my website. Brutal. Just anytime there's a hack, a vulnerability, a scam, he just notes it there, showing like here's how people are getting burned.
Has anybody in HEX got burned?
No, the only people that lose money in HEX are the ones who aren't vigilant with their security. Unfortunately, a lot of elderly people get targeted in HEX. I've known of stories of like senior citizens who fell for MetaMask tech support, who've fallen for like a form where they have to put in their seed phrase, and that gets compromised. So it happens, unfortunately, to the elderly. That's why everyone at HEX is very much about.
Yeah, those phishing scams can get anyone. Like I've almost fallen for them a couple times, and then I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like right now, there's apparently like a MetaMask email chain going around. So if you get an email from MetaMask, like that's not actual MetaMask. It'll actually say they've like spoofed their from email to actually say like MetaMask. So it looks legit, and it asks to verify, or it says your account has been suspended, and it asks to like log in. So unfortunately, you have to be vigilant. Another big hack or a big scam you should be vigilant, that's spreading across all of crypto, is when you authenticate with particular websites. This happens, with NFTs. There's like a little pop-up. I don't know if like you authenticate your like wallet with different websites, but sometimes you need to for it to actually like read your balance or pay for something. There'll be like a little pop-up that says, "Do you allow this website to have permission, like these permissions?" And it'll be like a phishing website where it'll look like the HEX website, but when you authenticate with it, it'll actually it'll steal your money. So also be vigilant with.
I hate those people. Why can't they just get rich doing proper money making ways? Like,
because they're trying to get rich quick, right? and they'll learn the hard way that fast money will escape you as quickly as it can. So
they're going to crypto hell.
Literally, yeah. It's karma, right?
Right.
And that's why, like, in HEX, we have a very honest community where there's no like kickbacks, there's no referral links, there's no like incentive for people to try to rip you off.
The incentive is that it's a good product.
Yeah, the incentive is success or like wealth is lonely at the top. So you want to be surrounded with your friends and family at the top. So that's why people share it, because it's like, I would rather be like wealthy and a millionaire and a multimillionaire alongside my friends. Yes, don't give permissions. So this is something you should watch out for. Make sure to be vigilant. Like when there's a little pop-up, it should just like, don't give too many permissions. Or actually a solution to that is have like your MetaMask wallet with all your assets, and then have a burner one that you send assets to actually transact on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, that's a smart way to do it. Because you can have multiple accounts under your MetaMask, right?
So
so you can make your second account one that you just send.
For like, it'll be like a burner.
Okay.
You don't really care. If it gets compromised, there's just like $100 on there.
Okay.
That you just use day-to-day. So those are some things to watch out for. And unfortunately, some people fall for those they're mostly socially engineered vulnerabilities. But getting back to what I was saying about staking, is one of my favorite aspects of HEX is that the staking feature has no counterparty risk. What counterparty risk means is anything else in finance has counterparty risk. When you buy a stock, you have to buy it on an exchange. Similar to like if you have a Coinbase, that's a counterparty. Like you have to trust a third party to ensure the security of your assets.
Right.
But
at one point when Shiba was going crazy, Coinbase crashed and I couldn't access my Coinbase. And I'm like, this is bullshit.
Or another example is in recent times, like when you were trying to log into your Binance and it was locked out.
Yeah.
And as much as
it
you
locked
try
me.
to...
Well, it let me back in, but then it had a 24-hour lock where I couldn't do anything.
Right.
Which I get it. It's a security feature. But I was like, yo, I want to be able to send my money right now.
Yeah. So in HEX, the staking has no counterparty risk, because it's simply, whereas like other staking methods, like I don't know what other coins, like I think Cardano has some sort of staking, I don't know, whatever other coins that come up with staking, it's going to require you to actually like send your coins elsewhere and then hope that they're secure and you get it back. Yeah.
Which is like what happened to my guy friend who sent his Tron.
Right. Whereas
homie just disappeared with all of it. Everybody.
It happens all the time. And it happens like on a scale of like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
In HEX, the staking feature, the way it works is you interact with the smart contract, and you actually, when you execute a stake, and a stake, just say, okay, I want to do this number of quantity of HEX tokens, this length, number of days, and then just click stake. You actually burn your coins out of existence. They don't get transferred to another address. You burn them out of existence, but on the blockchain, it's recorded that your address staked, this many coins. In return, it's given these number of shares that are going to earn you interest. And at the end of your term, when you come back to the smart contract, it'll recognize that, okay, right now we're like on day 700 or something of the HEX launch. We just care about these days. Like every day the day rolls over, and people can stake up to like 5 days. So when you come back, which is 15 years, when you come back, it'll note that, okay, now we're on day 800. It's been like 100 days since you staked, and you can now mint your principal HEX tokens as well as your interest that's accrued over the stake length out just into existence. So then you actually mint it. So in that case, the yield in HEX, your interest, is actually derived from the inflation. The smart contract has a static inflation of 3.69% per year, and your stake, you get shares, and those shares are part of that pie. What part of the inflation do you get? So HEX inflates. You get part of the inflation through staking, which means that HEX is a proof of stake token.
Right.
Whereas something like Ethereum and Bitcoin, they're a proof of work.
Right.
Because in order to participate in that inflation, and they all have inflation, you need to mine more tokens. You need to utilize computing power and electricity to solve like algorithms and earn and actually secure the blockchain and earn rewards, earn part of the inflation. And HEX, you can do it through staking. So we believe that proof of stake is the future. And Pulse Chain, also Ethereum 2.0, they're both going to be proof of stake, where through these delegators, they can secure the network, and with you delegating and staking, you can kind of empower them to do it. So it's a whole thing.
Okay.
But so in HEX, the interest is derived from inflation, which means that it's like the most pure form of yield, where it actually just comes from more HEX being generated each year. But obviously, you can get it at any time. And that's pretty much it. Like the longer you make the commitment, the more shares you will get, and in turn, more of the interest.
Right.
And the more concentrated those stakes are, also the more you'll be rewarded. And you're simply rewarded from the static inflation that's embedded into the smart contract. So it has no counterparty risk, where you don't have to entrust anyone. It's nearly 2,000 lines of code that have been triple audited and will live beyond our lifetime.
Right.
I find that very interesting. That's why I got such a long-term horizon, where like this isn't just like for the next year or two. This is for
generations and
generations. Yeah. So as much as people like to FUD it, as much as people are ignorant to actually doing their due diligence and actually having a conversation with someone like myself, or even Richard, who invites anyone on his stream to just debate him and find flaws, and they never do. It's a system that will actually outlive us. And as you know, even if the blockchain goes down, which is going to be very difficult because it's very decentralized, as there's like miners all over the world. But in case that gets compromised, you can also execute the blockchain on radio waves. So this is something that's just going to, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's a scam, whether you think it's a Ponzi, which we talked about yesterday, like it's impossible for it to be a Ponzi.
Right.
It's going to outlive you.
I think a lot of people just like get involved in something. Like my friend lost his money in a Ponzi, and now once that happens to you, you kind of just think everything's a scam.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I'm selling like fur vests online, and just through Facebook Marketplace, because I haven't launched my website, and this girl was like, oh, I like these. Can I meet up with you? And I was like, oh, I already left to Mexico, but I can drop ship you one. And she's like, this is a scam. And I'm like, no, it's not. But like, okay, you don't need to buy it. It's fine.
Yeah. That's why
you're missing out on this awesome fur vest. Whatever.
That's why in our community, especially me, like onboarding and spreading stickers, the easiest people to onboard to this and convince them that this is something that they should look into are no coiners who actually have no prior experience in crypto.
Right.
They're actually the easiest to talk them into because they
don't have their back up against the wall.
Yeah, they don't have like a bias, and plus if they're already like successful investors, they know what a certificate of deposit is. It's easy for them to grasp and just know, okay, this is just on the blockchain, and because it's on the blockchain, it's trustless. Where I don't need to go to the bank, I don't need to trust my government that these bonds are going to be worth something. I trust the blockchain. I trust code.
Yeah.
The code is law, and this is just plain mathematics. So it's as simple as that. And for that reason, HEX has gone from a price of 0.000001 to now currently being 21 cents. I think as someone posted in the chat. And I think higher up.
Penelope, HEX is the only cryptocurrency finished product, not a project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. So that's why we're so ecstatic about it. And if you look into the Hexicans on YouTube, on Twitter, on Telegram, our Telegram communities have tens of thousands of members.
Can't wait to be a Hexican.
All it takes to be a Hexican is having some Hex.
Yeah.
And then a true Hexican is someone who's
going to make me a Hexican? Is it going to be me or one of you guys?
Yeah, check your address. See
okay,
if
let's
we
take
got
a
some
look.
donations.
But I don't want to look yet. I want to do it later. Okay,
you can look. I mean, we've been on here for long enough. Maybe you got some Hex. And then someone who's really a diehard Hexican is someone who stakes for the maximum length of 15 years. Maybe they throw out $50, $100, and just see what happens.
Would I see it here as ETH?
Yeah. Another thing you can do is click import and look up HEX here. Yeah, click it. Click. What do you do? Oh, import.
No.
It should pop up here.
Nobody loves me yet. It's okay.
There, 0.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
I'm making myself.
There you have it. Yeah. So, I mean, for example, the workflow to acquire HEX for Canadians is like get some fiat through like ShakePay or Coinbase, buy Ethereum with it, and then you can log on the HEX.com website, and there's actually there's a widget on the header page where you can swap your Ethereum into as much like HEX as possible.
Okay.
So
yeah,
I'll show you quickly. Where's my
so do you think I should just trade all my ETH into HEX?
Okay, so that's a good question. So in like Hexicans, they tend to be like responsible onboarders, responsible investors, and we don't give financial advice. We don't tell anyone to do anything.
Yeah, of course.
Whenever I talk to anyone, I make sure they are like self-motivated to go through this.
Yeah.
So all we do is we just say people look into HEX.
Right. Yeah, which is all you can really do because if you're not a financial advisor, it's kind of illegal anyways, right?
Exactly.
But I'm asking your personal opinion. I think what I'm going to do though is just keep my ETH.
Yeah.
Because I can always liquefy it if I need it, and it seems like it's still going up. So not a bad investment also.
Yeah.
And I'll just put some more fiat that I'm getting paid from clients into HEX and stake it.
So, and who knows? Like you can turn $100 into a couple thousand, a couple tens of thousands.
That'd be great.
So, and again, you can prevent yourself from selling too early by making that like 1, 2, 3 year stake.
Yeah.
And that way you're like, okay, it's like $1,000. I don't care what happens with it. Let me lock it up for 2 years, see what it does.
Right.
And in 2 years, it might be a lot more.
Right.
So that's the beauty of all this, that you can actually be patient and let it do its thing and take a step back and not be glued to the screens, trading, speculating, checking what the price is today. Because all you care about is what will the price be when I get my HEX back.
Right.
Because then that price will multiply the interest that you've earned and the principal. And now you got a lot of value. So I'll quickly show you.
Hello from Ottawa. Hey, we're in Mexico. Come join us.
Join the
I love you, but I don't love the gas fees. But you're going to make a lot of money anyways. Who cares?
Exactly. Like when I got in.
That's how I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what? This is just a short-term expense for long-term wealth.
Exactly. When I got in, I was paying like $50 to stake. And I did it no problem because, you just go on HEX.com.
Okay. There's
a little widget. You connect your MetaMask and you can just swap your 2 Ethereum and you get like nearly 40,000 HEX. And you can
not bad.
Get it. And then, yeah, obviously look through the website. There's information on how to stake it. Go here to stake. There's videos. My website also has similar videos to this, and then explains it. And then there's some testimonials. Oh, the testimonials you should see are crazy. I actually have a whole Twitter collection of different testimonials of people. I'll show you later. People have of people having like bought cars, bought homes, bought estates. Have
can't wait to retire my parents.
Have bought have bought a bunch of stuff. I'll pin your.
We've got some friends from Philippines in here now. Hi.
So yeah, so worth kind of diversifying and having a little bit of HEX exposure, because who knows, maybe it'll be worth a lot more than just 21 cents in the future.
I believe it will be.
Yeah.
Especially since it's so new, and
yeah,
it seems like as soon as I found out about it, I was like, oh, this sounds great.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time before it starts to get more and more popular and go viral with people. And I'm definitely going to start talking about it and share it with my friends and family and stuff. So
it's cool. Yeah, there is like a referral link if you want to like get incentivized to spread the word.
Yeah.
We have like an app. It's called Staker app. Mm-hmm. And it's like an app. It's like a really brilliant app for both iOS and Android, where it just aggregates all like the HEX blockchain information, like the number of stakers, who's bought, who's sold, who's staked, who's end staked. It's just it's a really unique app. And there you actually do get a referral link that you can share with people. And then if they download it and then they buy through the app, it has a few like channels you can like buy HEX with, and you can get a kickback.
Okay.
So some people
like
do
kickback action.
Yeah, so some people do. If you look at the Hexkins, like everyone has like a website or like some sort of link, and it links to their Staker app, and then you can kind of download it. And if you buy through their code, you can get a kickback.
Nice. So. One of the first Hexikins in Canada we got in here. And okay, somebody said something about the 5555 club. What's that?
So this is what the longest
55.
Yeah, 55. This is the longest staking possibly make. It means 55 days. So 5,555 days. It's the maximum stake length, which translates to about 15.2 years from today.
Is there a reason behind the 5555? Are we into numerology? What's
numerology? Good question. No, there isn't. It's more so a technical limitation, like they to prevent like excessive gas, like because the gas fee kind of compounds. So when you end your stake, it'll be like higher than you staked. So like it's just realistic to stake up to 15 years. Okay. So they put that cap there. Okay. And then I guess they just kind of made it 555.
And what happened with BitConnect? Because he said people are hesitant because of the BitConnect experience.
Okay, well, yeah, BitConnect in the last cycle between like 2017 to 2008, it was an actual Ponzi scheme where they said that behind the scenes they have this like algorithm which is trading and earning yield, and as long as you buy the tokens and you refer your friends, it was all pyramid scheme. If you know, Trayvon, he was like a big influencer, getting people into BitConnect. Okay. So it was actual Ponzi scheme. Like there was actual referral links. There's a pyramid where you're getting kickback from everyone you refer, and the new investors were paying out the old ones. But in HEX, and if anyone has any more like hesitations, look at my website, stakedwealth.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom of FAQs, and I again outline how this is not a Ponzi scheme. This is not an MLM. This is not a scam. So HEX is trustless. You don't give up custody of your assets. You're always in control. You're your own bank. Give the HEX some love. Yeah. So now's a good time to get in because it is in a bit of a dip as people have taken profit since all-time highs. But as with every dip, prices go up. So like here was this is another kind of way to look at it. Yeah. Pump, kind of sideways, pump. And now we're like here. And if we respect this trend line, we should get to like $17 in the next 2 quarters. Ooh. And then again, back down and go up. So this is another perspective. So so another good thing, another reason why I say that HEX is a very honest ecosystem is that we are very upfront about the volatility that comes with cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
As you can see, HEX has dipped 6 times as much as 85%. But but every dip has been followed up by all-time highs.
Right.
And right now, the average stake length, the average staker is staked for over 5.5 years. So there's a lot of commitment. And right now, there's like $15 billion that are staked. So there's a lot of commitment for the future. And for that reason, people believe that this product will kind of stick around.
And how many people are in HEX at the moment? Is it like thousands?
There are 250,000 wallets, or 280,000 wallets. I forget the exact number that actually hold HEX. But with multiple people having multiple wallets, it's actually about 70,000 people in HEX. So
quite a small community, generally speaking.
Exactly. So your opportunity is like getting in pre-viral with only 70,000 stakers. So 10,000x with about 70,000 stakers. What do you think is going to happen with 200,000 stakers, 300,000 stakers, a million stakers? Richard Hart, the founder of it, though he's finished this project, he's moved on to creating infrastructure around HEX. So he wants the vision he sees is like worldwide domination, and he's in it for the glory, as you saw from that trailer. So like, he's been wealthy from Bitcoin, he's been wealthy from all this, and now he wants it to be the crypto people buy in the future. There's nothing else worth buying, because HEX is fast, secure, earns you interest, earns you yield, trustless yield, no counterparty risk, no middlemen. And for that reason, he believes like no one else should be interested in anything else except HEX. And he's building like on-ramps, wallets to actually make it the best experience possible. Over 300,000 stakers. Okay. Oh, 24 cents. So since we started, it's gotten from 21 cents to 24 cents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I should have bought some this morning.
It'll fluctuate. There's no need to FOMO. But the best thing
I don't really have the FOMO. Like, I know it's going up long term.
The best thing in HEX is you don't need to time the market. Timing the market isn't as important in HEX as time in the market.
Right.
So
I like that saying.
Yeah. So you actually creating this stake as soon as possible is actually more valuable than trying to time the best entry, because the value of staking actually depreciates over time. So the sooner you get in, the better. There's other mechanics that are worth kind of mentioning, but to keep it simple, the sooner you get in, the better, because with each day, it becomes the yield becomes kind of more and more rare. So over time, the interest rate could come down. Currently, it's a 40% APY on an average stake length.
This guy says, I watched 100 videos of Richard. I know Richard more than he knows himself.
Exactly. There's a lot of people that are just, like 100% drinking the Kool-Aid. And besides just becoming wealthy in HEX, another great thing that Richard has done is also kind of educate people on becoming better humans. He's actually a self-help author.
Which
He's
is
written
really important, because people suck a lot of the time.
Yeah, so he's actually written 2 books. He's got a big book called '𝙒𝙖𝙑𝙘, and in the whole book, he teaches people like from A to Z how to be better humans, like how to dress better, how to have better diet, how to have better relationships. So for that reason, not only are people fans of him because he's created HEX and has continued to build upon.
He's actually like a good influence on the world.
Yeah. So and he's really big into philanthropy. So he's very much into longevity therapy, something that I and Ivar, for example, have never even heard of. Because like,
first time I've heard of it.
Longevity is about the science of prolonging human life. And enabling humans to revitalize their cells and rejuvenate their body in order to remain like 20 or 30 or 50 years. So it's not about staying 80 for the next 100 years. It's about staying at your peak physical condition of like 20 to 30 years old indefinitely. So he believes in a world where he believes that the only charity that should that people should be donating to is longevity therapy. Because if you donate to like cancer treatment, it's actually it'll actually make a smaller impact.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Western medicine versus Chinese medicine. He wants to treat the root cause, and they want to kind of prescribe a fix when you're already fucked.
Right. so he just raised actually $27 million for charity. He did a big, like it was like a 2-week thing where he was raising money for longevity therapy. So he raised $27 million for a charity called SENS. It's an acronym, SENS.org.
Okay.
So that was a really big deal. So he's like always, mentioning that in any interviews he goes on. And some would say that he also kind of mentioned this earlier on, that initially, like, he was retired in the early 2000s, like from his businesses and just from Bitcoin.
Yep.
And then he started working on self-help, and he wrote these books to educate people. But he realized that though he wrote them, people couldn't really grasp them because they were in the rat race.
Totally.
So then he shifted his mind and said, okay, how do I get people to become better humans? Because at the end of the day, the most valuable thing a human can do is to heal another human. So let me create the better version of people to heal others. And he realized, I gotta get them wealthy, I gotta get them rich, so they don't worry about the living check to check.
Yeah, because when you're so, like you said, in the rat race, you don't have time to help other people. You're just trying to help yourself.
Your mic died, but so we'll kind of share this one. No, so we'll share.
Okay, yeah, you're right though. I agree with your point. Is all I was trying to say.
So he, so part of the origin story of HEX is he set out to create this, financial investment vehicle to empower people to get wealthy, and therefore change the world for the better and adopt some of his teachings, some of his self-help teachings. So that's why, like, our community it's all about helping. Even the mic though. No, this one's working. This one's number 2.
Okay.
So I can see
Did this one die?
No, this one's working. But see yours, the one you have clipped on. No, that was that. It's this one. So yeah, we've gone on for much longer. I anticipated this to be 45 minutes, but we've gone on for nearly 2 hours. So thank you so much
let's wrap it up.
For giving me 2 hours of your time. But closing thoughts, guys. If you liked,
even the mic died, yeah.
If you liked hanging out with the Cryptonella on IG,
follow me.
Yeah, follow her. Donate some HEX or Ethereum, and let's help get her staked today.
Yes.
Yeah, please. everything. Yeah, it's true. We've just been pumping since during the stream. So this might be a good sign.
I brought my good vibes to the Hexicans.
Hexicans, yeah. So yeah, look forward to we love you. Awesome. We love you too, Jay.
Yes, thanks guys for tuning in. It was awesome to learn about HEX and have this combo.
Check out HEX.com. Look out for a lot more content that we're going to be doing in Mexico. Spreading the word here, living our best life. And again, showing people in the Twitter, in the YouTube, crypto sphere, that you can become financially free if you pick the right vehicle and live your best life. That's literally what we're here to do. We got 4 Hexicans under one roof that are looking to, go somewhere where they're treated better, live in better conditions, not be quarantined, not be jabbed, not be fucking, things
coerced.
Coerced.
Not be inundated with propaganda.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do something also to like improve the community that's here supporting us and spread our love and our wealth and our good vibes here in Mexico. Yeah. Let's get the Mexicans into HEX.
So Mexico and Mexico. Yeah. So
we should start the HEX meetup group.
Yeah. Hopefully this grows into something where we have a compound. Where we get off the grid.
Can't wait to design that.
Oh yeah, it's a Hexican compound. So
that'd be tight. People are looking at
there's a guy that's looking into like a kind of an abandoned resort off the coast of Panama.
Ooh.
And he might buy that. It's only like a couple $1 million. So it
already has a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah. So definitely guys, get in, stake 5555. Spread the love, be kind to one another.
Yes.
And we'll all make it. So with that in mind, thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.